here are a set of painting techniques and how to do them. And they are on regular paper. So we're going to dip the tip, wipe the drip, especially because we don't want there to be too much paint, because paint has water and water will disintegrate paper. So the first one we're going to do is outline and fill. So I can make some sort of outline. If I put the paintbrush on its tiptoes, then it will be a thinner outline. I'm going to let that one dry. Also, I'm going to make a shape here and let that one dry. Over here is another one that needs to dry. So over painting, because when I paint over it, it needs to be dry. Over here we have dab paint, so it's kind of a bouncing motion with the brush. And here we have light streaks. Just gently pull the brush across. And in order to mix color, I'm going to pick a weaker color first. Yellow. Got a little blue in there. And now I'm going to squeeze out my brush, which saves time, and come up with just a little of the blue, and I can mix another color and blend that together. Right here we have draw with end of brush, so that you need to not let it dry this time, let it stay wet, and then you're going to take the other end of the brush and then you can draw some shapes and lines into the paint. Right here is dry brush. In order to do dry brush, you must dry out your brush. Then you're going to rub it back and forth. It's going to look kind of like a crayon that's been used on its side. Here's scumble. I'm going to wiggle my brush as I paint instead of painting a smooth swath like I did on the overpainting and draw with the end of the brush. Now that I left those little areas open, that is scumbling. Over here we have create texture. So if I whip my brush up, it will look like the texture of grass. If I squeeze that out, crisscross, I can get the texture of a chain link fence. If I do miniature dabs like this, I can get something that looks like rocks and gravel and sand. And then up here, if I make C shapes, I can make the texture of a cloud. Wet on wet, well, this is almost dry here. We'll get that ready. And then also, oops, I got to get my sponge. With sponge painting, you need to paint on the sponge. If you dunk it, you're not going to get the pores of the sponge, and it's just going to look kind of like a swath, like the overpainting. See, I'll show you the difference. I dunked. See, not very sponge-like. It doesn't have the pores. Now I can go back to these ones that are drying. I'll do overpainting last. I want to show you that if I streak through the wet on wet, it the colors become broken color. Now I'm going to come back. This is drier. I can fill in my shape. And then I can come around with the black brush. And then over on overpainting, it's going to look a lot different than the wet on wet.